look at all this awesome gear in front of me. It's such a great feeling to sit behind the kit and have these great tools to express ourselves and just sit behind. It's like being on the throne, being in the cockpit of an amazing 747 jet or something. It's such a great feeling. And whether you're already on this path and you already have something that you're using, or you're just starting and you're not sure what to get, or you have a young drummer in your life that you're trying to help out to know whether electronic drums or acoustic drums, it can be really challenging to know what gear to use. Like, where do you start with the sticks? I remember being at that wall of the music store and you just see that giant wall full of sticks. You're like, oh, I don't even know which ones to get. And I remember saving money for, my first big drum set, and I was checking out all the different choices, and same with cymbals and drum heads. Like, it can be so overwhelming. So how do you know what gear to get that's going to unlock your voice, and what tools to use that's going to unlock your sound? Because we have these aspects that our favorite drummers do, which I love too. Like, you might, my favorite drummer uses this ride cymbal that I love, and my other drumming inspiration, I love the way the toms sound, and the snare drum of, this other drummer. And you want to mix all that together somehow, not to be carbon copies or to mimic them, but to use all that and bring it in to create our sound and our personal fingerprint to bring it out onto the drums and in life. And in case you don't know, that's what LTR, Life Through Rhythm, LTR drumming is, where we unleash confidence and we express it on this amazing instrument as a tool through drumming and in life every day. So LTR drumming. Now, I did this, what I want to share with you today is a really cool exclusive interview I did with Canadian Musician Magazine, and it was all on how do you choose and get the gear and the tools that will best express you on the drum set. So no matter where you are in the journey, we're all looking for that gear that unlocks our sound. Join me on the journey. Connect with me at chrislesso.com and let me know how you're doing with your gear. But if you're on the path and you're always growing, you will eventually find and unlock your sound and speak your voice through the drums and in life, and uncover confidence that you didn't even know was there. You can do it. I believe in you and everybody in the community. I see it every day, how we just shine through drumming and in life. It's so cool. So enjoy this interview and find your best self through drumming.
Do you think yourself or drum teachers in general generally have an influence on where your students are going for stuff and what they're looking for?
It could be a favorite drummer, especially your teacher. Like if you go to a lesson, you actually see them playing on a certain type of pad, or they're holding sticks, and they give you a pair, right? You can just try it out. Like the impact that has is massive, and then it makes you like enthusiastic, like, oh, I gotta get that. I gotta get that too. I need that.
I'm just in general thinking back to when you were a kid and a young person growing up learning the drums. Like, what stands out to you in terms of your experiences in music stores and drum shops in terms of good and bad experiences, and what kind of stuck with you?
It was always like when I had a question about why is this snare buzzing, or it's just something, I was young, and what's the difference between these types of wood? It's the ones that took the care to really go beneath just the product, get to the meaning of it, and why you would do that. I had these questions like, why does my favorite drummer play? Like, I remember saving up for my first big kit purchase, right? Saving my money for years, and just asking them questions like, I see my favorite drummer plays this brand and this type of drum, but then my other favorite drummer plays this brand or uses these heads. Like why? It was the ones that took the time to really do more than they had to do, and to just go into that world beyond just pushing a product.
Yeah.
and maybe to share a personal experience or to just help beyond. Like when you play maple wood, it's a warmer sound, and you're gonna get more of the feeling if you play this style. You know what I mean? That has
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
to do with like just selling another drum
yeah,
kit.
yeah.
But I remember that, like the ones that took the, well, if you play a 16-inch floor tom versus a 14-inch, you might find when you play with your band, it gets lost in the, in the
Hmm,
bass
hmm.
hum of the amplifiers.
Yeah.
So if you play a tighter drum, you notice that this band does this, and it's like, wow, they took the time to really try to find my sound, because that's what this is. It's like when
Hmm,
you're looking for
hmm.
sticks, you're playing a kid or something, you're looking for a sound in your head and your heart, and
Hmm,
you're trying to birth that into the world.
hmm.
And that's a hard thing, especially when you're starting out. Like, oh my god, I don't even know what brand is. Oh, like,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
do I start? Like, I remember looking at that wall of sticks that's like here and going,
yeah.
okay, um, holy crap. And then they keep pulling up, you're like, I guess these feels good, and this drummer plays this, and then, so, asking the sales or the people for help, and they're like, well, whatever, they just brush off, versus the ones that are like,
Hmm,
did you ever notice this aspect of the stick is like this, and this is why drummers play like this. So it's always that personal aspect,
hmm.
which is like a feeling,
Yeah.
and which is empowering us to find our voice through the tools that we use. Like I can remember when a certain pedal came out that I was trying to decide whether to switch to
Hmm.
a model, and yeah, I heard some. Well, this is why I don't play it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, wow, I respect your opinion because it's from the heart.
These days, like, how much time do you spend in out shopping for drums or just visiting drum shops and stuff these days?
I still get that feeling, Mike, of like when I was a kid. Like you see the drums behind me, and like you just walk by them,
Mhm.
and you're like, whoa, cool. Like I just gotta
Yeah.
touch it, just look at it shiny, and yeah, I love it, and I love hearing. I'll ask about just different products, and what do you think is the difference of this and this, and I really respect someone that will say like, I don't know. You know,
Mhm.
you can always tell somebody that just they're just maybe, oh well, that's must be because, versus somebody that's like, you know what, I actually genuinely don't know, let's explore it together, let's
Yeah.
take it out of the package and like try it right here. That's
Mhm.
so cool to do in a music store. And it's also cool to go in. Now my kids are 4 and 5, so when I go in with them
Yeah.
and my 5-year-old picks up sticks, behind electronic kit and just plays, it's like you see it through their perspective, and
Yeah.
just how magical that is to just explore
Mhm.
all the different items in there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Speaking of electronic kits and that kind of thing, like, are you seeing where the trends are going within drum products that have stood out to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when people, from a drummer's perspective, when people play, they sit behind a real kit, they're
Mhm.
tapping into that ancient magic that, like, you've got this wood, you're hitting the dead center of a head, and it's resonating the shell, and you're feeling your gut, and you just feel it in like this, the molecules are getting shaken up, and it's like, wow. And man, nothing replaces that, right, Mike? Like, and just the way a cymbal feels and the way a stick feels on a drum head, and so that never goes away.
Mhm.
What the challenge is always is the noise and the size,
Mhm.
and that's where electronic drums and heads that are at a lower volume and cymbals that are a lower volume
Mhm.
can give us the opportunity to keep playing and not have the police come. Because I
Yeah.
had the police come to my door when I was 11, literally. Squad cars, man. Anti-drum neighbors. I just had a student of mine go, now, Chris, I've just discovered the bylaw process in Toronto. You know, first they give you a ticket, then they give you a warning, a ticket, and then like $1,000 fine. And I'm like, oh man, like the bylaw police. really
Yeah.
experience it, unfortunately. It's like when VCRs came out and they're like, oh my God, no one's gonna go to movie theaters.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Or no one's gonna go to concerts because they can just watch it on YouTube. No, they're always gonna go to concerts because
Yeah.
nothing replaces that feeling of the live show and
Mhm.
going to a movie theater and you feel it in your gut, right?
Yeah.
So that's playing an acoustic kit. And as electronic drums, that now they have the shells around them and they're getting more
Mhm.
sophisticated, I would imagine that it's going to level off at some point because the real thing is the real thing.
Mhm. Yeah. Knowing you have endorsements yourself and that kind of stuff, so kind of answer this how you see fit. But like, across all the brands, whether it's Sonar or Mapex or Yamaha, and on and on and on, like they all make great kits and they all make a wide range of kits in terms of quality and price and that kind of stuff. So when it comes to whether you're talking to a student or it's for yourself or whoever, but just in terms of advice about like what brand you go to, what kit you go to, like kind of what's your guiding principles for people in terms of where you would lead them?
Oh, I have some awesome guiding principles. So if you think of the mind and the heart, right? There's even
Yeah.
a animation I saw of this. It's like they're arm wrestling, the mind and the heart, right? So you could put all these facts and trends and reasons why, oh, maple kit should be this and this is the brand for you. But like if your heart is telling you to get a certain drum set because of the color, just the design of the lugs or something like that,
Yeah.
like get that kit. That's for you, whether it's the sticks or like it's a feeling, right? And this
Yeah.
is art, this is expression, this is your voice. So like whatever, don't question that. Go with that. It's gotta ignite that. Like when you sit behind your instrument, you shouldn't even have to play it, whether it's a practice pad, even when I pick up my sticks. I'm fired up to do something with these sticks because of the sticks that I've chosen, because of
Mhm.
the tool. It's like that with anything. And I'm always fascinated too, Mike, with what's behind the story
Mhm.
of the tool you're using. So what I mean by that is I love, for instance, when you love a band, when like you get to know the band a bit, why they wrote that song, you know the personalities of the band. Like the Beatles is a good example of that.
Mhm.
People got to know the personalities of those four, then they just love the band so much more,
Mhm.
right? Versus those bands where you find out, it's just a bunch of studio musicians. It wasn't even them. They just wrote it to make money. There's no story behind it. There's no depth.
Mhm.
So the sticks I use, the heads I use, the drums I use, the cymbals I use, the practice pads I use, I know the story behind it.
Mhm.
And it really started with like my favorite players. Like, why does so and so choose those drums? Then
Mhm.
because it helps them unlock their sound. And like who designs the products? How did it start? Like I love learning about, say, a certain company, and it's like, how did they start in that garage? And
Yeah.
then how did the person have that idea? And what did they want to improve on? And then it leads to the next thing, and like that's so cool. Learning
Mhm.
those the people behind it, the stories behind it. And it's like, oh, like I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And that's why the products that I've used for decades, because I feel that, and they fire me up to play, first of all,
Mhm.
and I know the stories behind what goes into making each one, and I identify with that. It's
Yeah.
it's an expression of me.
Yeah. Interesting. What are you looking for in an online shopping experience from a drum shop? But also, what is it that will bring you into a store?
Well, Mike, I remember when I've been around long enough where I can remember the ebooks trend spike, right? Where
Yeah.
like, oh my God, physical bookstores will go out, and that didn't happen. And I think the trend is more people are into real bookstores than ever,
Mhm.
because one of my favorite things to do, just walk in and you see, you smell the books, you feel it. So going into, if we're talking drums, like man, a store where it's all drums and there's the drum kit set up and you can try them out a little bit. Nothing beats that. So I'd always encourage somebody, if you're thinking of going on Amazon or something, like support those independent businesses. Take the time to go out, make it a day event, because it
Mhm.
is an event,
Mhm.
especially if you have young ones out there. I remember going with my dad to these stores to buy my first pieces of gear, like my first cymbals, my first Fire Engine red drum set. you know, and it was like, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that going in the store. And even now I try to make it an effort to go in there and yeah, it's an experience and it's an event.
Mhm.
And that's really, I don't think anything will replace that.
What is it you're looking for in an e-commerce website that would kind of help facilitate that better for you?
I think if you have to go online and
Yeah.
you had no choice in that area, as close and as much care to what it you know as much of it close as an experience as you can get,
Mhm.
if you know what I mean. So like I've seen, yeah, it's good attempts at this and not so good attempts
Yeah.
where take the care to really take me through what it might feel like to play these drums or what they
Mhm.
sound like, and as much detail as you can show me
Yeah.
versus just a picture and a price tag.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
need to
Be able to hear it and
yeah, it's like even test driving a car. Like if I can't go actually test drive it,
yeah.
then I want you, it's up to you to go to as much care, go the extra mile,
Mhm.
really like, give me the simulation of like what it would feel like to drive this car,
Mhm.
and as much details as you can about it. So I
Yeah.
think those are the ones that will win.
Cool.
Is like when I go to your website and you take me through the journey, am I feeling the story?
Yeah.
Am I really getting a taste of what that would feel like versus just a price and a photograph for my mind? It's gotta hit the heart.
Nice. Lastly here, especially in terms of thinking of like students and younger people getting into drums and that kind of stuff, especially as a teacher, if you're sending someone to a shop to pick some up, you want to know that they're going to be treated properly and not be taken advantage of and that kind of stuff.
There's a saying, Mike, that says nothing fails like success. And there have been, what I mean by that is that there have been some, some big stores out there that they forget what it was like to treat each person like they're special
Hmm.
and to treat each person like they matter. And I can remember that feeling of being 9 years old going into the store and just
Hmm.
someone goes down to your level and they make you
Yeah.
feel special and then light up that enthusiasm and excitement versus just like, get in line. You're lucky to even be here, and we don't care if you buy or not. And it becomes all about just pushing product, and
Hmm.
you're just like a number. So the ones that I always refer my community to, I know basically they're gonna feel special,
Hmm.
and they're gonna have the extra attention to uncover their voice.
Hmm.
It might be like, yeah, just taking the time to ask a few more questions and really light up that, this is all about excitement and enthusiasm.
Hmm.
So if you try to push a product on somebody, you might smother that. But if you take the time to make them feel special, ask them questions, and really light up that flame of enthusiasm and excitement, they're the ones that are going to go the long game. Because there's more choices than ever before.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is a good thing you're doing. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, man. I'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you,
All right.
Mike.
Cheers,
I'll
man.
talk to you soon. Thanks, man.
Later.